Hey, this is Billy Childs from Brittany Fox, and you're listening to the Cosmick Voice.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
This is the Cosmick Voice. Cosmick Voice. Music, talk, and nothing but business with your hosts, Chris Natalini and Mick Michaels. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cosmick Voice. This is Season 8, Episode 8. I am here with my co-host, Chris Natalini.
What is going on? And Happy New Year.
I am Mick Michaels. Welcome back, everyone, to a new show, a new year, a new you. How you doing, buddy?
Womp womp. I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm great. It's the new me. The new
is it
me.
A new you? Is it?
I don't know. I believe I'm 6 inches taller. How's that?
Was that your New Year's wish?
That's every year's wish. Every year's wish. You don't know how difficult it is to find a pair of pants for a short man. Waist, hips, and then you got length. You know, it's you know what I mean? To get that waist and hip thing to fit, you got to buy pants for a 6'5" guy, but now you're dragging around and you look like you know, it's craziness.
But yes, man, here we are. New year, new you. Let's hope for a good 2026.
That's it. 2026. Here we come. Here we go.
No legends dying. Let's put the celebrity death list to bed for a year.
Yeah, at least a year. That. At least a year. I don't know what that does to the universe of things, you know, the cycle of life.
Because my friend, as you and I are big Disney guys, Dick Van Dyke is 100. I got to say, I'm a little concerned because that's going to be a bummer when he's gone.
Not very long ago, Joyce Randolph finally passed away, from the honeymoon.
Yeah,
I mean,
yes.
She was somebody that, everybody's going, no, Joyce Randolph's still alive. What? What are you talking about? It's crazy, right? Isn't that crazy? And then, you see it. It's like, hopefully I'm that lucky that, I pass away and nobody knows. You've been around so long, nobody remembers. Oh, I thought you were dead already.
You died years ago.
Yeah.
Let's hope that some celebrities, no more legends passing, all right? We lost too many last year. Let's try to get through this year with no passings, please.
Well, we'll see how them things go, but it is what it is, man. So,
yeah, man.
What are you up to? What do you got going on for the new year? What are your hopes? What are your dreams? Do you need a couch? Do you need a box of tissues? What do you need?
Both.
I hear that.
I've been talking about a lot the past couple shows, past couple weeks in this new season of ours. And my 2026 is looking to just get back into the game, man. I'm just trying to stay positive about it and keep moving forward. And hopefully that will pay off in 2026 and I get back in the game. And even though the game may be a little different, I just want to be back in it and figure it out, with the ebbs and flows of the business. I just want to be in it again, be a participating player in the business.
I get it, man. I get it.
How about you?
I'm moving forward. I keep doing things. I keep putting things on my plate. Not 100% sure I really want to do them all the time, but there's a part of me that says, all right, you got to put something out there. Let's see what happens with it. Some days anymore, I'll be honest with you, I go, well, I don't know if I want to play it anymore. The game. And then other days I go, I definitely want to do it. But like I talked about in some previous episodes, I don't want to change the destination, but I am changing the route. How I'm going to do it. Because things aren't working. I don't want to do the same old anymore. I don't necessarily want to follow the path that the so-called experts are putting out there and telling you what you have to do and this is where it needs to be. I think that, and I've been saying this for a number of years, less is more in terms of, I don't need all the bells and whistles for whatever that is. sometimes you just need a good pen, a paper, and a guitar. Acoustic guitar.
That's it.
And you can start working on some stuff like that. And a lot of honesty can come out of that. Like, I mean, because if I'm writing and I go, like, if you're honest with yourself, like, this is the same old crap. Like, I got to get out of this rut. Writing's one thing. You can write and you can keep doing stuff. Like, one of the questions over the last 6 or 8 months, I had been asking some of the artists that I interview is that with every artist, there is the possibility, concern, or the probability that you're going to circle back on yourself. Yeah. And you're going to find yourself being a player, being a singer, songwriter, or whatever, that you're going to start repeating yourself. And how do you avoid that? And for the most part, everybody's got like this canned answer that, you're putting your heart into it, you're doing this, you're doing that to ensure that. But that's not necessarily 100% accurate in my opinion, because you'll hear vocalists repeat melody lines, like if they have a specific way of doing something and it comes out in a lot of songs, like say maybe a few albums in, all of a sudden they discovered this thing about their voice and now they're doing it all the time and it becomes a signature piece to them. Or guitar players do that. I mean, listen, a lot of people had accused Ace Frehley of playing the same 4 or 5 solos over and over again. Not necessarily true, but there were parts that were, some of the repetitive parts were very similar, or little pieces of the lick that were reused. I've done it. I know other guitar players have done it. Again, it becomes part of your style, probably your go-to comfort zone in playing. Hey, what do I put here? Hey, look at that. It's just my old standby. It fits it in, and it rolls into this other, whatever. So we all have that tendency, and sometimes kind of dumbing it down a little bit in terms of, like, getting out of the studio, stop using all the outboard stuff. You don't need effects. Just a pen, a paper. I'm not even sure they exist anymore. At least in my studio, I still have pen and paper. But I know a lot of people are like, what is that? I'm not sure what that is. But pen and paper and an acoustic guitar, and you could probably find a lot of magic just in that. But, I keep swinging, maybe missing a lot more balls these days, but trying to have a good time with it, or trying to find more good times with it, see where it's at. You know what I mean? See where it's at.
Yeah, man. And, I find more and more as time goes on that more bands are just doing writing, recording, and releasing. Like, they don't really do the tours. They don't do the random shows or the festivals. I was talking to a friend of mine who plays for a Christian death metal band, and that's what he was telling me. Writing and putting stuff out, and really they just released a new record, and they're already writing for the next one. And the cool thing, he was telling me, the cool thing that they do is they try to incorporate other people. They'll bring other musicians into the band because they don't have to worry about taking more people on tour. You know what I mean? So they can do more studio-wise. It is very cool. We had a really interesting conversation. That's all they're doing. They're writing, recording, releasing, next. Writing, recording, releasing, and bringing in different people on every record with different viewpoints, different ideas. And, honestly, the stuff is amazing. I've been hearing that more and more often. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of at a point now where I think I'd be okay with just doing that, because as you and I have spoken about a lot on this show, and you've been experiencing it within the past year, especially this past year, that laying out is getting harder and harder, and you're questioning yourself on, not you in general, but you as an indie artist in the trenches, you question yourself, are these shows worth it? Like, what am I getting out of it? And I think we're going to find that more and more as time goes on. I think we've really seen it lately, but I think as time goes on, we're going to see it more and more.
Oh, absolutely. Your point about your friend's band, well, everything's about content now. Years ago, I used to say content is king, right? Because I figured the more you had, the more diversity, the more things you can get involved in. But that was still doing it the old way of mixing in to your model. I got to keep recording, getting music out there. But we were playing out a lot. A lot.
Right.
Especially since COVID times, things have changed drastically, and there's less and less of that for more and more people, whether by choice or being forced because of the environment that we're in, that it's because it's so affordable, economical, and easy to do, and the standards have changed, right? Yep. The standards have changed. It just has to be good enough anymore. Mm-hmm. So going that route, not touring, doing everything on the surface that looks like what a band does, except playing out. It's definitely a road that people are doing because they don't want to change their lifestyle. They don't want to add travel. They don't want to leave their job. They don't want to suffer financially. They don't want to, whatever. And I get that. I totally understand that.
Yes, I do too.
And I think that as you get older, and maybe some of that will play into the topic of the show today, like you make those decisions. Like, okay, well, listen, maybe this isn't worth doing now, but I could do this and I can do that. So like the destination may still be the same, but you're changing how you get there. The problem with that is sooner or later, say you do make the destination, whatever that is, you may be expected to play live.
Yeah.
And then you're not ready for it. Then you're not seasoned for it. There's a definite trade-off. And I see that a lot when I'm out playing. I'm seeing those type of bands that really don't play out that often and have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
To set up, to tear down, how to work with other bands, what it is to do. They think they're in their studio and they have all the time in the world and they're bringing everything in the kitchen sink. They got a little refrigerator on stage. They're bringing lounge chairs, all this kind of thing, just to play a 30-minute set. And it's kind of crazy. And I'm seeing more and more bands like that. I actually played a show and there were 6 bands on the bill. It was like a little festival type thing. And you could tell that all 5 bands, excluding my band, don't play out that often because of, 1, what they were bringing to the show, 2, how long it took them to set it up, 3, how long it took them to tear down, and what they were expecting from the venue, the sound person.
Yeah.
That's not how this works unless you are the big Mahaf coming in as the headliner type of thing.
Yeah.
So there is that, but I do get it. There's a trade-off. And the other trade-off used to be, because recording and all that and releasing and all that stuff was so expensive, you did what every other band did. You just kept playing out and you recorded when you could, when you had time, and when you had the money to do so.
Yeah.
Then you had guys who were inexperienced in the studio. So you see what I mean? It's always just a balance. And maybe this is the time. This is the time right now. If you look on Facebook, like everybody's a digital content creator nowadays.
Yep.
Like,
everybody.
What does that mean? Like, I don't even understand what that means. Just because you put a post out done in the digital world, are you a digital content creator now? Because you said, I'm going to bed now because I just ate a Big Mac. There you go.
I know. Well, and another thing too about just putting, records, just writing and putting out. And we talked about this on other episodes. You're your own boss, right? You don't have labels to answer to. You don't owe anybody money except for
what you pay for,
time or whatever. Right. Or if you have your own home studio, you can do everything there. So you're definitely not owing anybody to have to go on tour to pay off that debt.
Right.
And you still get to, write and release music. So it's pretty much a win-win. Your fans get to hear new music and you don't owe anybody money. You could even sell merch. You don't have to be on tour to sell merch. My buddy's band, I got one of his shirts, from the first record, and they're not touring. So you could do that, and that's okay too.
Everything can be done via online and print on demand. So you're not even stocking anything, and these companies will drop ship right to the person who orders.
Yeah.
So again, I understand why people are doing it. Absolutely. For, a number of reasons. I still have that burning desire to play out. Yes. Maybe I don't want to play out as much as I did 15 years ago, but at the same time, and somebody will go, well, you can't play out as much as you used to. Well, you're right. But there comes a time but I would like to still stay consistent, play out there, keep that ball going as long as I can, or as long as I choose to. And then, like we talked about in other episodes, to just say, okay, this is okay, and I'm fine with it. I've talked about it before, both on the show and private. The day that I call it quits, I'm done. That's it. And I'm okay to walk away from it with no regrets because I've felt that I've accomplished a lot. I've covered a lot of ground. I'm okay with it. I got a large body of work, good, bad, and different. Doesn't make a difference. But I checked off a lot of boxes that I had on a list saying these are the things that I'd like to do over the course of this career, and and I'm happy with it. I don't want to keep lingering on and like what if now. Like, I mean, if there's only going to be a short time after, I want to be able to live it not worrying about doing this other thing. And that's not to say that I don't care. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is I can walk away with no regrets.
Yeah.
And that's part of this decision as I move forward. Like, I'm going to take some back roads. Maybe I even may double back on some of the old roads I haven't been to in a long time and check out the sites and see where that may take me, because they're quiet and desolate. Nobody goes to them anymore, those roads, because they're passé, just like cursive doesn't exist anymore. And apparently AI cannot read cursive. Like, it doesn't decipher cursive, I guess, because there's so many different styles of it, and everybody's, for a certain generation, you have a way of doing cursive, and I have a way of doing cursive, and they may not be exactly the same. Mine's more like a chicken scratch with a lot of lines anymore, but that's a whole nother thing.
It's Ross the Boss.
Take it down.
Johnny D from Brittany Fox.
Stephen Pearson from Rat, the Rat Bastard. You're listening to the Cosmick Voice.
You brought up another point, too, about the shows and what they provide for you. And I was just having a conversation just a few weeks ago about something similar. Like, I was saying, there's no venue in the area, and I know this will probably ruffle some feathers, but there's no venue in the area that if you played, that'd be like your ticket to the next level. It doesn't exist. There's no show right now that you could do that's going to change the game for you, because there's nobody at those shows anymore. There's no scouts. There's no talent buyers. Even the management and or those that are traveling with headliners, they're not even interested in picking anybody up. Like, unless you're waving stacks of $1,000 bills at them. That's it. I mean, years ago, it was a way different thing. Now, that's not to say, like, all of a sudden, like, if I'm playing Madison Square Garden, that could change things. But how do I go from bottom of the rung to Madison Square Garden?
Right. Yeah.
In the movies, maybe it looks good, but in real life on paper, that's a pretty big leap. And it doesn't necessarily happen. But years ago, if you started playing a string of clubs, that led you to one club to the next club, because there was people there was a buzz, and then all of a sudden, you're now getting calls. I'm going to say 10, 12 years ago, that was more so the case. There was definitely some venues that you got into that definitely opened some doors. Oh, yeah. Not the same way as it did in the 80s or early 90s, but there were some doors where you got connected with better bookers or bands or some people that were kind of working the inside of the circuit that could get you. No, it doesn't even exist anymore. I mean, you got guys that are running corner bars who think that they now are a gatekeeper. And in essence, they are to that place. Because if everybody's going there, and remember, I mean, if you have a place that's only 8 feet by 12 feet, you get 5 people in there, you got a packed house. So they are gatekeepers to their own yard. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. And if there's only 3 yards to play in, you either choose to play that game with them or you don't. Yeah. But in reality, for a career, for any artist trying to get themselves up and out, and there isn't a venue that you could play in the area that's going to make or break. It just doesn't. You're 100%
right.
Yeah.
You are 100% right.
Even opening up for major acts anymore does not create the same buzz, because years ago that was a coveted slot. Now it's anybody who wants to put up the loot to pay the tickets or cover the nut, whatever. It's just not the same thing.
No, you're 100% right, bro. It's not. It's really not. It's funny you said it, because I never thought about it that way, but you're right.
Yeah, and so you'll understand why older musicians go, you know what, I'm just going to write and record, release. Write, record, release. I don't want to go through that stuff anymore, because it's not the same thing. You're breaking your stones for what? Now, I'm not saying don't do it, because if that's what you want to do, like we've always said, then you do it, and you make the best of it. You find some model that works for you.
Well, yeah, of course.
You know, and the thing is if you are doing a show with a big headliner, I mean, remember, the venue's not promoting you. They're never
Right.
promoting you. They may
That's right.
put you on the flyer, but that doesn't mean they're promoting you. And in some cases, I've learned they're not even promoting the headliner. They're just promoting the event for people to come to buy a ticket to drink. That's it.
So true.
That's it.
So true.
So it's not like that they want you on the show because they know that's going to give you that leg up. That's not the truth at all. They want to know, can you cover this nut that we put, because if you say no, they're on to the next person on the list.
Yep.
But keep in mind, that venue's not promoting you. Even the bookers that bring you on to the shows, they're not even promoting you. I mean, I know that sounds horrible. We're starting out the new year with that kind of talk.
It's true.
But if you get to the reality of what it is and you can get past it, then you can find what works for you. And if you
That's right.
accept it, listen, because everybody's dealing with it. It's not like it's just you, the single. I mean, listen, there's been people that have been singled out and blackballed. And I get that. But everybody's dealing with the same thing. And if you're just a bar band, weekend warrior thing, just having fun, picking up some extra money, get some drinks or whatever, and I see plenty of bands like that, there's nothing wrong with them. Sometimes I wish I was that band. I wish I was that type of player. I would have probably saved myself tons of stress and had more hair at this age. You know what I mean? Because I pulled most of it out. Because for years, and we talked about this on the show, I could never enjoy the shows the way I should have. Because it was
me
all
too.
business. I'm working it, and I'm doing this, and I'm already thinking about. I mean, we're not even done this show, and I'm already working on this show, and and it was
I'm the same exact way, dude. I'm the same exact way.
And it's tough. It's tough when you're the guy that's responsible for everybody else. Getting them here, scheduling this out, making sure this is. You're the person that everybody comes to when there's a problem.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's a tough thing, and I get why people are pushing more and more content. One, because it's easy to do. I mean, independent musicians, in the trench musicians, that wasn't so easy 40 years ago. It was almost impossible.
Yeah.
Now you can push that stuff out like it's nobody's business.
Yeah.
And like I said, the standards have changed. It just has to be good enough. Because half the stuff we're listening to on MP3s, on our phone and stuff, it's not of super high quality to begin with.
Right.
They keep altering the bit rate and stuff like that. You think you're getting stuff. How many times you've heard a song from like a major band, you're like, where's the bass in this? My phone refuses to pick up bass. It just eliminates it. No bass, sorry.
Yeah. Don't want it.
It's like Injustice for All, every album.
It's true. It's very true.
You want to get into the topic of the show?
Let's do it, brother.
Let's see if we can pick things up from there. All right. Probably not. The topic of the show is another round. Are comebacks really possible for indie artists? Are comebacks really possible for an indie artist? What do you think, buddy? I mean, I guess to have a comeback, you had to have an entrance at one point.
I guess so. I mean, I guess it really kind of depends on how you look at it, right? I mean, you could be an artist that used to do all the things back in the day, and then you gave it up for some time, and then you get older and your life changes, and you go, I kind of want to revisit this, and you start doing all the things again. So, yeah, I mean, I think it could work for anybody. Obviously, depending on where you were when you stopped playing is going to depend on the impact that it has. If you're an indie artist, kind of like where me and Mick are, there's definitely going to be some people that are interested in for a quote-unquote comeback or quote-unquote reunion or revival, whatever. There's always going to be people that are interested in that, I think, especially if they're fans, if they're legit fans of the product, the art that you create. People are going to want to hear it and or see it again no matter what. So, yeah, I think it's totally possible, especially in this day and age, where you're kind of running the show. Like we had said earlier in this show, really, you're the be-all, end-all. You could do everything you need to do. So if you're coming back, if you're making a comeback or revival, you can manage that on your own. You can make it as big as you need it to be or want it to be, or you can make it as easy as you want it to be. There have been a few bands on my level, in this indie artist level that you and I are in, that have made, they've gotten back together and play some shows. And that's always a really cool thing because we always like to revisit those good old times, right? Those years when you were younger and, you see those artists again, those bands again. So yeah, and they've been pretty successful, and maybe this success kind of gets them the confidence enough to maybe write some new material or re-release some older material. So yeah, we've seen it. you and I have seen it's happening now. I think it's definitely possible, and I think it's a really cool thing. You know, as long as you're not making a fool of yourself. How about that? You're doing it justice for coming back or for a revival or reunion, whatever. But yeah, it's totally possible. I think it's a really, really cool thing if you do it right and it works, especially because there's always going to be fans of your music.
Well, let me ask you this. You and I personally know several bands and or artist musicians that have done something like that. At one point in time, many years ago, they had followings, they had success in their career, they went places. Then, as with a lot of things, bottom drops out, they decide to do something else, whatever reason. And they come back, and there's a short buzz. But do you know anyone who has made a comeback in the independent level in such a way that it was better than the first? They're making a good living out of it, and only that, or it expanded into something far greater than what they had before. Do you know any? You don't have to name any bands or anybody, because right now I know some bands that have come back and they're still kind of like playing, but the problem, I think, and I do want your answer, the problem that I see is that sometimes these guys that try to make a comeback don't do anything new. They just play to the old fiddle, and they keep playing to the old fiddle over and over and over again. And that may be cool in the beginning, but I think after about 5 or 6 years or even more of it, I think it kind of gets old. You already did that a long time ago. You made your comeback doing it again, which is always kind of cool at the first, nostalgia.
Yeah.
But then sooner or later, how many times are you going to go see it? And we're talking indie now. We're not talking like, like what Kiss did. Because Kiss, basically, that's what Kiss did. Their big comeback was pretty much rehashing everything they did in the 70s. And they pretty much stayed with it till 2023. This new turn of events that they're doing, which now they're talking about writing new material and whatever, is the non-makeup years of Kiss with a different group of guys, in a sense. Playing the same old songs.
Yeah.
Which is kind of exciting. I mean, I watched a lot of that footage. They're not as seasoned as they were, in a sense. Maybe they'll get back to it. I don't know. But so what do you think? Is there anybody off the top of your head that you could go, yeah, they did it. They're doing it better than they did it before?
No. To answer your question, absolutely not. Not from the indie level. I will say this. There is a band that came out from the Philly area that is in the When We Rocked book, little things about them in the book, that they reunited. And it was a big thing in this area because, they did fairly well back in the day. And they had a great buzz going. They were doing, the original older songs. And then they decided, you know what, let's record some new songs. And the new stuff was good, man. It was really, really good. They did nothing with it, and then they broke up again. So, it's a lot of the same reasons they split up the first time. So to answer your question, no. There is definitely no one that I could think of on the indie level that I could name a ton of bands that are together and still together, that kind of have this revival reunion thing that are still playing, but they're not putting out new material and they're not progressing forward, I guess, to answer your question. So no, there's nobody. Everybody's just kind of, I don't want to say living off their name. I don't want to degrade it, but that's basically what it is. They're just living off the name in the hopes that they're turning on new people to their music, which they are, because that's the genre that you and I are in. That old school stuff, people in our genre really appreciate the older stuff. There's so many people that do revert back to older stuff. So those bands are able to stay around and play, but to get to the next level, no, definitely not. It's just a straight line. There's no progression, just moving forward, not up or down, really.
Let me ask you, do you think that that's a choice? Like a choice going into it and going, look, this is what we're going to do? Or do you think it's a hard lesson learned when you jump back in this delusion of grandeur and then life hits you and you go, you know what, let's just stick with what we do best?
I think it's both. I think in the bands that I could think of a few that went, oh yeah, let's do this and we're going to get to this level. We're not going to make the same mistakes. And they get out there and they go, oh man, business is harder. We've talked about it before. This business is harder now than it was even 6 years ago. Like, it's just a completely different scene, let alone 20 years ago. There is one band that I could think of that they went, let's get back together, and it went really well. They did it for like a one-off, and they were like, let's just kind of keep doing this. Let's play the big shows, the big festivals again, because I'm talking metal. It's a little different for our genres, as you know. They go, you know what? We're just going to play shows. We're going to play shows. We're going to play festivals. We're going to pick and choose. We're not going to be crazy. We're not going to record new stuff. We're going to be exactly that. Boom. That's how they went into it. It started off with, hey man, let's get together. Let's go travel overseas and play this show and just kind of relive those years. And they went, man, it went really well. And then they just stayed the course. That's it. This is just all we're going to do, with no intention of trying harder to get further. We're staying right here. People know our name. People come to see us. That's it. We're going to live off the older stuff. We'll make shirts, make a little money off of merch, and that's it. Keep our day jobs, keep our wives, our families, no crazy tours, festivals here and there, and that's it.
Well, I guess that works for the artist or bands that had some level of success in the years prior. And then they broke up, took a hiatus, went different ways, became a circus clown, all these different things, and then decided to come back to music. Totally get that. But what about the artists, bands, musicians that are in bands, been in the scene, and then they drop off, it just doesn't work out, they drop off, come back a couple years later, and they're just trying to pick up basically from the start? Can those people make comebacks? I mean, now, one, they're making fresh. So if you're looking at a comeback like, did I get back into it? Well, yeah, there you go. So, then that goal achieved. But just a quick search, see what people are out there are saying. Like on Reddit, by success, and again, we talked about success is whatever you deem it as. But on a level, just like with anything else, is can you earn a living from what you do? And the truth is most of us don't.
No. We can't even make a living off of what we are doing outside of music. We're barely making ends meet now.
Well, because society has changed in such a way, but that's not for this show to talk about. I'm not sure what it's to talk about anymore, but... And there's that huge debate. There's artists that are independent artists that are just making... I don't even know if they're making ends meet. I'll give you an example. I'm not going to name the band, but I've played with this band several times. They're a foreign band that actually came to the States. It was supposed to be a short-term thing, play in the States, and they were playing as much as they could. They've pretty much made it a permanent thing. Mm-hmm. They've gone through several members since they've been here, but they're booking shows all over, everywhere. And some shows are real good, some shows probably aren't as good, but you're not going to know that unless you're there. Like I said, I've done shows with them. I've seen the different tiers of what's happening. But I've also talked to them and been in the room when conversations were happening. I may have not participated in the conversation, but I was listening. You talk about they're just kind of getting by. I mean, they're crashing into people's houses. They're being paid gig to gig to get you there. They may go some time without eating much or often type of thing. And so you're doing what you want to do. There's this passion for it. But at the same time, when's the reality kick in?
Yeah.
And it's hard for all of us. Not to sound like a bummer, but the truth is if that's what you want and you can do it, then you do it. But I think that's such a pill to swallow. I mean, you're having band turnovers for guys that are just playing in their basement. I don't want to do this every Saturday anymore.
Yeah.
So, but think about these guys that are doing this on the road, and they're being paid, $10, $15 here. What do we got to eat? I don't know. Another trip to McDonald's, and you're trying to work out the dollar menu. That kind of thing. And then you go, I don't want to do this, and then the band members switch. I mean, I know of another band that they left the area to go someplace else. One, I think that they were kind of wearing out their welcome. They were also starting to burn a lot of bridges with places, with other musicians, because they kept pushing, but it wasn't definitely a democracy. And I understand if you're a hired gun, you're a hired gun, but a hired gun means that you are being paid for your time, your energy, your talent. Yeah. You can't be expected to just jump on board as a full-blown partner if you're not receiving anything in that regards. And for most bands, it's not like you're receiving a paycheck anyway, but you receive the notoriety or the respect or the level as everybody else is, but you're still being treated as a subordinate. That's pretty tough for people to handle.
You are listening to the Cosmick Voice with your hosts, Chris Natalini and Mick Michaels.
Comebacks at a major level, well, that's different. And they've happened time and time again. There's so many artists and bands that have done that. But even they implode sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, or they run their course.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aerosmith made a comeback. Tina Turner made a comeback. They go on and on and on and on and on. But for independent artists, maybe a little harder, huh?
Yeah, especially because if you've been out of the business for so long, I guess it's different if you're in the business, continue in the business doing different things, and then you get back with another, maybe with an original project or something you had done many, many years ago. You're still in the business, so you're able to kind of figure out your place. But if you're not in the business and you come back after being gone for so long, I think it's a culture shock because you're like, the business doesn't work like it used to back then. And I think it's where a lot of these independent bands, they get back together because, you know, the reunion thing is kind of in right now. And they get back together and they don't realize that, holy crap, it's not what it used to be. Like, it's way harder. And I think it's sometimes it can be a slap in the face because you realize that maybe the name of your band isn't what you thought it was. Or maybe you realize that people kind of did forget about you. And that's a hard pill to swallow, man. And I think that's a big thing, too, with some of these bands that come back and, you know, try to start playing again. You realize that they did forget about us because everybody moved on.
Yeah. You know, you and I have talked privately that some of those guys that were in, say, let's just use quote unquote, bigger area bands, and that's relative to maybe the area, maybe the neighborhood, maybe the block, maybe the venue. They come back, they realize, like, what everything you're saying, this is a different business, I don't understand it, and they get into tribute bands.
Yeah.
They take their name, instead of tarnishing it in terms of, like, brand new music or going to their original scene and dealing with the disappointment that follows it, they go the other route. And I know a number of guys that just went that route.
Yeah. Because
you play a couple times a month, you get paid, people come out, they enjoy the show, you get your ego fill, you get to play.
Yep.
And you're riding your name. And you can talk about all the old stuff that you used to do when music was a thing, venues were a thing, and it made a difference. So you look like, oh man, look who I'm hanging with. That's a tough one. Because oftentimes, especially at this stage of the game, you think to yourself, well, maybe I'll just take some time off. I'll just pick up where I left off. You can't do that.
You can't do that, no.
No, especially nowadays. I think that because it's such a quick fix, feed your attention as fast as you can type of society, instant gratification as they call it, and with the oversaturation that's happening in everything, everywhere you go, it's oversaturation. And whatever was happening last week is 100% passe now.
That's right.
And just like with the show, all your buzz, all the power that you have is all before the show, the pre-show. The post stuff, most people don't care about. Okay, well, I missed it. Okay, I learned to live with it now. You know, it's that excitement before, because as soon as you see it, you don't need to see it again.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit more searching. I don't use AI for anything else, but I've been using it more. I just do these searches because they're collecting all this stuff. Google calls it AI overview, whatever. Immediately they go, yes, independent artists can make a comeback. Well, if you're a popular independent artist, sure you can. But if you're some guy that's been living under a rock the last 35 years, it's going to be a little difficult. Sunlight may bother you. I'm not sure. So here's what it says. Number 1, re-engage and build your audience. No, duh. Dirt. And some of the things that they say, use social media, collaborate, and leverage digital platforms like TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. Well, I don't know if they all do the same thing as they did 10 years ago.
Right.
Collaboration is cool if you know people to do that. But if you know nobody, so get two nobodies on a collaboration, because I've been there, and guess where it goes?
Yep.
Then it says, 2, focus on a smart strategic release. Well, don't we all do that? And
right, exactly.
Most of the time, it still goes into the wastebasket. Prioritize a platform. Now, we've talked about that. Instead of trying to be on 1,600 different social platforms, pick one that works best for you.
Yeah.
For me, TikTok doesn't make sense because my aging audience isn't on TikTok. And the ones that are, it's such a small percentage, it doesn't really make a difference.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
So you got to go where people are barely breathing. So I should start kind of rolling into the old folks' homes. Maybe even death row. I'm not even sure. I mean, at least you have a captivated audience. All right, here it is. Create high-quality content. Well, we just talked about that earlier. It just has to be good enough nowadays.
That's right.
Because people are almost breezing over it.
Yeah.
Almost breezing over it. And then combine digital and physical. Well, we've been trying to do that for years. As physical formats like CDs and vinyls are starting to make a comeback, vinyl prices have come down, still somewhat expensive. But they do offer platforms now where you can do print on demand or have your audience finance your vinyl project if you sell a certain amount of units and so on and so forth. So, And then 3, monetize and manage your career. Well, isn't that what we're all trying to do? Monetize and manage? Most of us, we're managing it our best to keep it afloat without running into something. And monetize and music probably shouldn't even be in the same sentence. That's me.
No, it's true.
Yeah, diversify your income streams. Don't rely solely on streaming royalties. If there's an artist... Yeah, thank you. If there's an artist that's coming out today, independent artist that goes, I'm just going to collect royalties. Yeah. It's like royalties in publishing. I hear that. Oh, yeah, we'll take care of it during the publishing. Publishing? Dude, what do you think you're getting? First of all, what do you think you're getting? Just because you showed up doesn't mean you're getting publishing rights. I don't understand that.
That's right.
And then save all your money for marketing. You got to allocate a budget. Well, budget and music shouldn't be in the same sentence because most bands don't even have a budget.
It's like large shrimp.
Yeah, large shrimp. Yep. And then 4, keep your passion and a long-term view. Well, yeah, and that's kind of why it's so dark down here for the rest of us. We've become blind. I am blind. Thank you, AI, for stating the obvious.
Yeah, well, that's what it's good for.
Yeah. Here's the thing. How to make a comeback after taking a hiatus. That's an article, right? That article was written January 19, 2015. That's the newest or latest article that I could find on the subject.
Even ChatGPT's like, I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea. They're like, 2015, that was a different world. I'll tell you, in 2015, I was playing pretty much every weekend.
Oh, every weekend. Every weekend.
I think around late 2015 into 2016, I was starting to add Thursday nights. It was crazy.
Yeah, telling you, bro. Every weekend.
That's what I'm saying, how things have changed in 10, 11 years.
Yeah.
So what do you think, man? You got anything else you want to add? Any personal wisdom or inspiration you want to hand to somebody who's dusting off the boots, pulled out the guitar, realized they need to change their strings after 20 years, and is going to try to make a comeback?
No, I'm good. I think the only thing I would say to that is, if you're going to do it, don't expect it to be like it used to be, because it's just not. Try to find your way and realize it is what it's going to be, and then go from there. If you go into it thinking you're going to be the next big thing, or you're going to try to regain those times, it's not going to work out for you.
Sounds good to me. If you like that episode, check out some of our other episodes at www.thecosmickvoice.com. Step into the Cosmickverse and find your comeback. Thanks so much for listening. This is the Cosmick Voice. If you have a question, a topic idea, or something you want us to address, just contact us through our Facebook page at The Cosmick Voice. You can listen to The Cosmick Voice at Spotify, Breaker, Apple, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, and at thecosmicview.com. Check us out on Facebook at The Cosmick Voice.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. If you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode. And for that, Mick and I would like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And we hope you enjoyed this new episode. And if you did, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Also, feel free to let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes of The Cosmick Voice. And you can get in touch with us through thecosmicvoice.com and, of course, all of the Cosmick Voice social medias. Take care and be safe.
You're listening to The Cosmick Voice. Music, talk, and nothing but business.